Hey there, how's it going? This is Nadine from Save a Million Cents. Today, I would love to answer a question about why the heck doesn't my budget work? So I see a lot of you planning really, really well. So you create a budget, you plan it really, really well, and it works for a week, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but then it falls apart. Okay, and it's because you're missing there's a little ingredient that you're missing out on, and I would love to talk to you today about this missing ingredient or the secret sauce to actually following through or having a sustainable plan for your money. Okay, so it isn't just about putting the money, like the finances together. It's also about following through because you want it to be sustainable. Okay, so the real reason this is happening, it's because your budgets are not sustainable. Okay, you are not factoring in your actual, this is a line, right? I'm underlying your actual habits and patterns. What you're doing when you are creating a budget is that you're pretty much like factoring in what you would love your patterns and habits to be, not like what your ideal habits and patterns to be, not what your actual habits and patterns to be. Okay, so let's say like you sit and you create your budget with your partner, with me, your coach, with anybody, and real life happens after that. Okay, you go to the shops, you see a pair of really nice shoes, or you're walking around and it's a Wednesday, you're really, really, really tired. You can't not stop at your favorite cafe and have dinner there instead of cook dinner for yourself. So these two incidents mean that you're over budget, that you have done things that cost money that weren't in your budget or spending plan. So what's wrong here is not that you cracked and fell into temptation and bought the pair of shoes or the 2,000 thread count Egyptian cotton sheets, or that you like ended up eating at the restaurant. That's not what we're talking about here. What I'm talking about here is factoring in your, you find these things irresistible. You are normally tired on a Wednesday, for example. So instead of forcing yourself to, no, I'm going to be good, I'm not going to be doing that anymore, just looking at your patterns and looking at your habits and thinking, okay, this is how I function. This is where I am now. I would like to be better later. But in the meantime, how can I factor this into my budget so that it can become more sustainable and bears into account who you really are and what you really want to do. So Wednesdays are, for example, no longer you're cooking at home, forcing yourself to eat whatever at home. It is full-heartedly your eating out day. And it's because you're tired, it's because you're uninspired. And that's really good, So just factoring that in. So when you veer off track, okay, you end up losing interest. You lose interest because you feel defeated. You feel defeated because you try and you try, you got excited about like having a plan, but you just fell off the plan. You fell off the bandwagon. So you either promise to do better next time, or you decide that you're not going to do it anymore. You're not going to track your spending. You're not going to have a budget anymore, or you go into denial mode. So you actually just avoid the fact that it happened. You just steal it, borrow it from your savings, and you put it on your credit card or whatever, and you just avoid it and you're not facing it, meaning you're not being honest with yourself. Okay. So the actual way to create a budget that you would actually stick to is to cultivate awareness of yourself, is to be honest about your actual habits and patterns and factoring in these into your plan instead of avoiding them and pretending that they don't exist. Okay, so the way you can start doing that is by creating what I would love to call a regular money date. So regular money dates mean that you are sitting with yourself once a month, once a week. I like to do it once a week. I get together with members of the Money Sanctuary, which is my online community, once a month, and we do a money date together. So what that means is that we are raising awareness and connectedness with our finances. So if you want to build a better relationship with money, you can't just set a budget and forget about it. That's just a one-sided relationship. It needs to be mutual. It needs to be more dynamic. So you set your budget, you go, and real life happens. Then what happens is that you go back and you review, you take a look, you see what worked, what didn't work. So you raise awareness. You tell yourself, this is how I am, this is how I'm not, how is this going to look with my money? And if I do end up going out on Wednesdays every Wednesday for dinner, what would that look like for my money? Can I actually afford that? Because when you face the truth, when you look at your money in an objective but honest way, you will know what you actually can and cannot afford. One moment, please. So there are some things also that I would encourage you to start asking yourself when you're on your money date. So you can ask yourself, like, what is triggering my expenses? Like this, like on Tuesday, I went off budget. What triggered that? What happened on Wednesday? When exactly during the month am I needing a pick-me-up or like a treat? When can you actually factor that in before it goes out of hand? So let's say, like, you know that by the end of the week, you're going to want to treat yourself. How can you perhaps treat yourself in smaller ways throughout the week so that you don't have that crazy need to treat yourself and splurge by the end of the week? And what day of the week or what day of the month do you see your willpower waning, and what brings that about? And also, I would encourage you to ask yourself, like, what triggers your spending? Where and when do you see these spikes in your spending when you sit with yourself in your money day and you look at your budget? What makes you feel restless, and how does this restlessness affect your spending habits? When do you feel that you need a dopamine hit? When is your spending triggered or brought upon by feeling depleted or feeling like you're not loved or worthy? Therefore, you go and prove yourself wrong by buying something. Or when are you trying to avoid a feeling by buying something? So these are really raw and honest questions. And honestly, I don't really share these things with, like, just on a public video. These are things that I reserve for one-on-one clients. However, I would really love for you to take, just use this to build more empowerment and more dynamic and healthier relationship with your own money. Okay. Another thing, there's other questions you can ask about saving as well. Like, are you saving out of reaction are you reacting to something in particular, therefore you are saving? Are you saving out of fear? What is the energy behind saving? Are you excited about a life goal or like a new thing that you're saving for? And does saving make you feel expansive and cozy and like, fuck yeah, I'm taking care of myself? Or does it feel like you're putting handcuffs on your hands? Like, is it a regular thing that you do, or is it just an afterthought? Do you pay yourself first, or does that come later on? So once you start training your brain to ask yourself such questions, it's going to start giving you better answers instead of like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? So these are unproductive questions. So when we take your habits and we factor them in and we start looking at them objectively and train our brain to ask better questions, like the questions I just presented, for example, you can of course, run on those. That's pure gold. That is absolute pure gold, because it is the essence of building a sustainable plan for your money. And what we actually really need is sustainable. We don't need anything fancy schmancy app and this and that and blah, blah, blah. What we need is something that you are going to be excited to follow, even if it looks like a notepad, like even if your budget is you writing down like a yellow legal pad, or on your whiteboard or on your phone. I don't really care at all, as long as it's something that you are going to stick to, because that is another factor that will help you with sustainability. Okay, sometimes people like start their budget and start like committing to these fancy things, and that's not sustainable. It's not going to work. So that is it for now. I really want you to build a better relationship with money, because I see a lot of you holding back and holding back in life, or not pursuing what you're curious about, what you desire, what you want after, like after the fact of you being a productive person in society, that's all good, whatever. But what I'm really caring about is having that money available for you to pursue what you're curious about, to pursue what lights you up. Because once you do that, once you go down that rabbit hole of what lights you up and what is actually aligned, what makes you feel like you're getting fulfillment, that is when you are going to pretty much follow your life's purpose. This is when you're going to just spread more joy. When you're joyful in your money, you're going to spread more joy around. And there's too much negativity around money. There's too much crap going on. Money, this evil, that. You got to do this, you got to do that. Let's just stop this. Let's just stop this now. And let's just start building a better relationship. And this is one of the core elements of it, creating a money date. So that's it for now. If you would like, I host a regular monthly money date with my community, which is called the Money Sanctuary. The Money Sanctuary is a member-based community. We gather twice a month. Mid-month is a workshop, and this is when we learn something. The second gathering, which is the last week of the month, it's normally on a Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST, we have a money date. So we actually do all of this. We sit together, we talk about what worked, what didn't work, we do our books, and we actually have, like, members have space to talk to me about whatever money mindset challenges or anything that's piquing their interest that comes up for them. So it's just like this open party discussion that just promotes positivity and building a better relationship with money. So join us. The link is on my website, and maybe I'll see you there. And if you have any questions, leave a comment or a whatever at the bottom of this video. See ya. Ciao.